So today we're talking about how to set up a call partner conversation. So sometimes you have folks who join you for a call. Maybe they're a subject matter expert. Maybe they're your boss. It's really important that you still own that call. So today we're going to talk about how you are the master of that conversation. Let's get to it. The other thing is I think about, when you have a call partner, right? So you all maybe, maybe Michal or Anna's joining you. Maybe it's Susie. Maybe it's somebody else. But you want to think about your role in that interaction is more like a puppeteer than an MC. So tell me, what do you think I mean by that? So what's the difference between a puppeteer and an MC? What does an MC do?
An MC kind of keeps the audience entertained, whereas a puppeteer kind of runs the show.
Yes, right. So if you think about a puppeteer who has like marionettes or whatever, right? They are making those dolls move. An MC is kind of saying, and here is the doll coming out, right? Here comes Caroline. Here she comes again, right? That was a great thing from Caroline. Those are two very different models for how you run a call. And so when you have a subject matter expert who's joining you, whether they're joining you because they're a more senior commercial lead or they're joining you because they are a true subject matter expert and they're there to help kind of support some of the data or insights. Your role is to define what should be happening on that call and kind of keep them on track, reel them in, set them up for, to say something, right? Because you know this relationship better than they do. You know what the goals and outcomes should be for the call. So if you think about the MC where they're just saying, okay, so now Summer's going to tell you about this. And then they kind of go off stage and then they come back on just to say, oh, wasn't Summer great? Okay, let's talk about this now, right? I want you to think about yourself more as like the puppeteer who is making the puppets on the call move. So you want to prep together, right? Ideally, if you've ever got a subject matter expert on the call, a day or so before at a minimum, but certainly by the morning of the call, you should spend somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes prepping, depending on the importance of the call and what some of the outcomes are that you're trying to drive. Make sure that you introduce them properly. Their actual name, their external title, and then why you've asked them to join you. Now, ideally, you will have set that up with a client in advance, right? Ideally, you're not just bringing them and saying, oh, Summer wanted to join me today, so I wanted her to be here. And if you have somebody who's doing that with you regularly, saying like, hey, I see that you've got a call with so-and-so today. I'd love to hop on that. I want you to think about the message that sends to the client. You are also the ambassador for the client. So if you have, it would be awesome to have Cindy join you for a call, but you should let the client know that that's going to happen because that is their experience, right? That you don't want to surprise them. Hey, Cindy has an opportunity to join us today. I'm wondering if that would be okay, right? Ideally, if you give them a little bit of advance notice. But what the goal is of that person joining. And then you want to be able to share, right, with whoever the subject matter expert is, insights that would be helpful. So if you're hearing something on the call based on something that they said, or you're thinking, oh, it would be awesome if Anne talked to them about this, that you can introduce it that way, right? Annie, this reminds me, Santine has been talking to me about this thing. Would you mind talking to them a little bit about this, right? Because you know that client and that client relationship in some cases better than some other folks. And then it's okay to redirect them, right? Even if somebody is more senior than you are, or they, it feels awkward or uncomfortable. This is your client. This is your client relationship. And so if you need to say in the moment, in fact, when you're doing that prep work, that's a good time as well to say, hey, if I notice that things are going off a little bit, I might redirect or I might cut you off, right? This tends to be something that commercial leads struggle with sometimes with subject matter experts. They get really excited about something they're talking about. They really get deep on a data point and you're thinking like, this is, I'm looking at the eyes on the other side of the virtual meeting and they're kind of glazing over or they're starting to multitask. It's okay to say, hey, Caroline, one of the things, I know we only have 10 more minutes together. Do you mind if we wrap this section up? And if they want to go a little deeper on that, maybe we could do that in a subsequent call, right? I think that sort of thing can help. And then after the call, you can say to that more senior person or peer, whoever you're talking to, hey, I'm sorry to have redirected you there. It seemed like we were going a little long and I wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity to ask some questions on this, right? But it's okay to redirect the conversation. So let's talk goals, roles, and outcomes. Actually, before we do, any questions on the puppeteer? It's relatively straightforward, but I always find that in CS in particular, this is an uncomfortable place sometimes because often you're working with people who are either more senior than you are or know a lot, and sometimes it's really hard to step in and say, I'm going to advocate on behalf of the time that I have with the client and with the client to cut this person off, even if that person is more senior than I am.
If you've made it all the way through to this part of the recording, you are either a sales pro, a sales enablement pro, or certainly on your way to being. For more tips and tricks like this, follow me on my LinkedIn page, or you can like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, or both. Find me at Toying with This Idea. If you need coaching, whether it's for you as an individual or for your team, as well as things like training, tools, talk tracks, tech optimization, any of the things that are going to support your go-to-market effectiveness, you can also find me on LinkedIn or reach out to me via my website, Toying with This Idea. Get out there, go crush it, have fun.